You are listening to a Very Colts podcast with your host, Ryan Noble. On today's episode, Barrie Colts have NHL camp, the overage situation, the import draft, and goaltending. So enjoy.
The rawness, my roaring jaws harness is awesome. Often in dead mics I grip with my paw prints, armed with the sharpest whip.
And welcome to a Very Colts podcast. I am Ryan Noble from Twitter. My name is at Ryan Noble 66, RyanNoble 66. And with me I have
Ryan McArthur. I'm on Twitter as well at Ryan P. McArthur, RyanPMCARTHUR.
Pretty easy. We also are on the Twitter for the blog itself, which you can find at Very Colts, which is at VERYBARRIECOLTS, which is pretty simple.
And we are definitely on Twitter, so get out there and follow us if you want Colts coverage, because on those three accounts you're going to get nonstop.
You're not going to get any better than that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's obviously a lot of great content out there, but we'd be lying and doing ourselves a disservice and saying we're not the best. How are you doing today, Ryan?
I'm not bad. Just excited to get this first ever episode going. This is awesome. Like
a little nerve-wracking, maybe? Or?
Yeah, a little nervous, but I'm excited. It's fun.
Well, as we mentioned,
good fun.
It is the first episode, so bear with us. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, but we're very excited for those of you who decide to join us for this. So, as we said, it's our first episode in our first season, so I guess this is kind of like the blog's rookie season. Today, for this episode anyways, it's going to be fairly light, basically we're going to be covering Barrie Colts players at NHL camps. We're going to take a look at the overage situation headed into the upcoming season. We're also going to look at the two players selected at the import draft, as well as the goaltending situation headed into the season. So here we go. First topic we're going to look at is Barrie Colts players at NHL camps. Obviously, we're going to have to start off with Andrei Svechnikov being picked up second overall by the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, Svechnikov for me had to be my favorite player on the Colts last year. Like, there's anyone who follows me on Twitter would know. Like, I tweeted out probably like hundreds and hundreds of tweets about him. He was absolutely fantastic. 40 goals in 44 games last year. OHL Rookie of the Year. CHL Top Prospect of the Year. Really solid player. Like, everyone talks about the offensive prowess he had, but man, like he's just an all-around player. Like, with the back checking and the defensive all-around game, he was unbelievable. Absolutely.
And that was a huge part of his game that I feel that, though it did get the credit it deserved, was his ability to back check. I mean, the amount of times, like, I remember being at BMC where he would be in the offensive zone, and all of a sudden the play would go the other way. And half
gap
the time,
control.
He was the first guy back. He doesn't... a lot of these star players that you see that come up, it's always the offense, but I mean, I felt it was really overlooked, and I mean, it's going to be exciting to see. Carolina's obviously very excited to have him on the team. You've seen a lot of social media. They even have wallpapers for cell phones going out. It's really great to see Carolina so excited.
Yeah, like nonstop coverage. I mean, they had a pre-draft day visit video, so they had him talking to Don Waddell, the GM down there. Rod Brindamore, just kind of walking around the area. They pretty much knew that they were going to get him. It wasn't really no secret that they were going to draft him. They had another 3 or 4 minute video on the draft day in Dallas. Tons of camp coverage. Like, first time he hit the ice, they had a video.
Well, they had footage of him already.
Everywhere.
And even on social media heading up to it, I mean, you could see that even through their official account that Andrei Svechnikov was their guy.
Yeah, they had even when he signed his entry level contract already, and they had 3 or 4 sections of the in the arena full of people that went there just to watch him sign his contract.
Totally.
That's all they had in the video. I'm sure he answered a few questions and whatnot. They're pretty excited about him down in Carolina, and I don't blame them. GM Don Waddell basically has said that they're going to find a role for him next season. Whether he's going to be jumping right up into the top 6 or whether he's going to be in the bottom 6, they know that he's got that defensive game. He's firmly in their plans. I don't know.
He absolutely should be. Yeah, he's it would be nice for Svechnikov to come back to Barrie next season.
Realistically,
realistically, it's not going to happen. So best of luck to him, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Moving on from him, we will go to Dimitri Sokolov, who was invited to, well, he's property of, the Minnesota Wild camp.
Yeah, and he's also signed by the Minnesota Wild. So that's our second guy right off the bat that's been signed by an NHL team, and there's quite a few once we get down the list here. But yeah, like there wasn't much coverage from the Minnesota Wild account on Dimitri Sokolov. There was one fan that posted a few photos and kind of had this one shootout goal where he had some little razzle-dazzle kind of backhand deke and made the crowd ooh and ah a bit. His skating looks crazy improved. They were showing him in some drills, and man, he's just a gun. Like Socko had to be one of my favorite players in the Colts last year. Looking at a guy who registered 30 goals in 29 games with the Colts, 58 points overall. So
it's incredible. That's insane point production. And he was huge. Every time he was out there, you knew he was there. And when he wasn't there, you knew that he wasn't there because the team was obviously lacking the over a goal a game point percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just incredible numbers. And
it's a hell of a scorer.
No, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, there wasn't a lot from the Minnesota Wild side on social media. I think I saw one. They had like someone share a clip of that goal you were talking about, and there was a couple of fans that I saw post some stuff, but overall it was all the fans, and they're excited about him being there, but I don't really follow the Wild too much I don't know what their social media presence is generally like. I only really followed it because of Sokolov, obviously, right? So and he's one of those guys who I would be surprised if he ended up coming back to Barrie. It would be, it seems silly that he would not end up at least playing in the AHL this season. But there's still that possibility that they might want to see him develop somewhere where he'll get more minutes maybe. He'll get just a better chance to work on his skills that maybe if he's in the AHL, he might not get the same amount of minutes. And
yeah, and I mean, like, I'd say probably you're looking at a 90% chance that he's going to be in the AHL next year, but there's still a chance. You never know. Like, I could be wrong. Look at a player like Kevin LeBanc. We got him in his overage year. He ended up getting 127 points, I believe. I don't know that number exactly, but it's pretty close. He led the league in scoring, and look at him now. He's like on the Sharks' top 9, top 6 even. So he's on the second power play. So
absolutely. And I mean, that's a huge accomplishment for him, especially when so many people kind of were, I don't think rooting against him, but I think that people didn't really see him as the player that people in Barrie, and I mean, people in Barrie loved LeBanc. We got to see he was just outstanding. So
yeah.
Anyways, speaking of being on a team that we don't know much about their social media presence, we're going to segue to a team that could work on their social media presence. Aaron Luchuk, who just finished his OA season with the Colts, went to the development camp for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, I mean, leading scorer in the OHL, and like, there's nothing on social media about him at development camp. I mean, we're sitting there. That just seems incredible to me.
It just seems like such an easy sell. Like, he seems like he should be like exactly the type of player that they should be. Like, right now, Ottawa needs.
They're a disaster.
Good publicity. They need something, you know.
All the stuff going on with Hoffman getting traded basically away for nothing, and situation with his girlfriend, that was all crazy. You got Carlson wanting out and can't even stand Eugene Melnick. Like, I don't know what's going on over there.
They need something.
It kind of makes me happy, though. I'm a Leafs fan, so I think we're winning the Battle of Ontario right now.
And, no, absolutely. Especially as they just kind of keep spiraling down into just a mess. So
we love Luchuk, so
we wish him the best of luck. And we hope that he's able to get the ice time. That hopefully he just gets the crack that he deserves.
Right, and he was overage last year, so he's definitely not coming back.
And speaking of a guy who could be back in OA role,
hopefully
Zachary Megwood ended up signing an entry-level deal with the Nashville Predators after an incredible training camp.
Killed it. Absolutely incredible development camp for him. He signed his entry-level contract. They had their development camp scrimmage. He scored a hat trick. Scored an incredible highlight reel goal by flipping it up and batting it out of the air into the net. And you got a snipe from the top of the crease in an empty netter. He also actually added a shootout goal in between periods. We got that info from our Sam Hossack, who's a contributor at Barrie Colts. So thanks Sam for telling us about that, because Sam was actually watching the game on the live stream. So
yeah, he would send me pictures of his desktop or his laptop as he'd be watching it. So he was definitely at the pulse of that for sure for us.
Yeah, shout out to Hossie there.
Yeah, no, and Colts fans wouldn't be surprised about Zachary Magwood just impressing. I mean, he was just outstanding for Barrie this season. I don't think that there's too many guys that just were as consistent as he was. You know, whether he was getting points or not, he was always grinding. Even when we were doing our poll for the hardest hitters, he was
second.
He was in the top ranking there. You know, I mean, if Tucker wasn't on the team, he could have been. Svechnikov also was actually on that. Yeah, he did really well because he's also a guy that.
Yeah, I think our top 3 hitters were actually Tucker, Magwood, and Svech.
I'm pretty sure Svechnikov did get the second honorable mention there. So on to the next.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll just say one more thing. I wanted to just mention this about Magwood. We've always liked him. Any fans that I talk to, but he's got to get more power play time. You're looking at a guy that got 59 points last year, almost a point a game, and he's not even on the second power play. It just kind of blows my mind. So when he comes back to Barrie, hopefully
how does that even happen?
Hopefully we get him
with those numbers,
first power play.
With those numbers, I mean, it seems like he should have been a lock for that. And I understand that the team had a lot of
they had a lot of good players.
They had, when you have guys like Sokolov and Svechnikov, up there, and obviously guys like Chiodo and stuff who are. Putting up that's a tough spot to crack. But to not have gotten on that second, that's I can't even think of any reasoning why he would have not that. But
and you're looking at a guy, Josh Brown from the Kitchener Record. I believe that's a paper he covers the Kitchener Rangers. He said that 16 teams invited Zach Magwood to an NHL development camp.
Insane.
That's half the NHL. He chose the Predators, I guess, because he could be picked, he could be choosy, right? Because he's got all these teams to choose from, and that seemed like the team that was most interested in him, according to Josh Brown. That was a great piece, by the way, Josh.
Well, it obviously worked out for him. He ended up getting his deal out of it, right?
And he's got a deal now, and we want him back. We're hoping he comes back, but there's that outside chance that he's going to get an AHL job. He's that good.
He could. So I see Magwood coming back. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, that he's one of the candidates to become one of the overage players for the Colts this upcoming season. But we'll dabble into that a little bit later.
And that shot, though,
just insane,
unbelievable!
Such a quick release.
Yeah, love that player.
Insane. Yeah, I got a Magwood jersey in the closet. He's one of my personal favorites. So, speaking of other personal favorites, Jaden Pekka, who ended up actually getting an invite to the Arizona camp.
Yeah, was he our most improved player this year?
He was,
on our poll?
And absolutely, deservingly so. He was just incredible, just a good depth player for the team. He produced very well.
Yeah, you're looking at 47 points in 64 games, but as plus 32, which is he's a complete player too. He takes care of his own end.
He looks after his guys.
Gets the puck out of the zone.
Absolutely. He was great. And unfortunately, we didn't really get a lot of coverage from that side. If I'm being honest, I am blocked from the Arizona Coyotes on Twitter. So I had to ask you guys to get the information for me because for some reason, I don't know what it is. So actually, if somehow anyone from the Coyotes is listening, you can unblock me now. I just want you to be able to hear me say how good of a player Jaden Pekka is. And how you should give him money.
I was following I follow everything super closely. Everyone knows that follows me on Twitter, but I was following the Arizona Coyotes account during development camps. There was nothing there. I did see some stuff from some fans, though, saying that they liked Pekka. Very little there, but shout out to him getting an invite to an NHL camp. I'm sure that they're going to be watching his progress closely this year with the Barrie Colts. We're excited to have him back. Should be solid top 6 contributor on the team.
And he'll be a huge part of the team for sure, like you said. We always because there was a couple games where he didn't play early in the season. And I mean, I'd see him at BMC, and he was always so nice. He seems like a really friendly kid, and he's such a hard worker, and that's obviously why he ended up getting the most improved player at our award show, the Pony Awards there.
Yeah, we had the red carpet and everything. We even had horses.
We spared no expenses.
Yeah, it was none of the players showed up. Next year, maybe
if you could spread the word for us, Pekka.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys who might be willing to spread the word for us, the next one is Tyler Tucker, who was drafted 75th overall by the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, big Tux. I mean, like, what can you say about him? Like, he had that 75 jersey on at the St. Louis Blues camp, and he looked like a linebacker out there. It was just awesome. A lot of us want him to actually wear 75 for the Colts. People that own a number 2 Tucker jersey probably wouldn't say the same thing, but
no, for sure.
It looked pretty awesome, that 75 jersey. He's probably going to be playing with Nathan Allenson next year, who wears 72, so that would look pretty good.
How nice is that pair going to be, too?
Oh, yeah. They'll complement each other well.
It's going to be great. Tucker's just going to keep running over anything that moves. So, I mean, just an outstanding player to watch. And his development in Barrie has just gone so smoothly.
Yeah.
And he's just like, when he came out and he started in his first season, you saw that he was going to be a good player. But, I mean, I don't know. I remember when I was on Big 101, I was talking about how he was my favorite player that season, just how his development was going, and he's even surpassed kind of the expectations that I had for him. So
yeah, he was an absolute steal for the St. Louis Blues in the 7th round. It's unbelievable by their scouting staff to recognize him and his potential. He, I don't know, basically when I was watching the end of the draft, I was just waiting for his name to show up. There's a few guys there that I thought could get picked late, but Tucker was one I was thinking could come up any second. I thought he could have gone even earlier, probably could have gone in the 5th round or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's awesome. Like, he was our inaugural Luch Nasato award winner. And that award is basically for hitting and grit and toughness. So
that hit on Merkley, man. My goodness. Just ridiculous. I'm sure he's still feeling that.
Yeah.
No doubt. Speaking of players that probably could have gone earlier, we also have Joey Keane, who was also drafted by the New York Rangers in the 3rd round.
Yeah, Joey Keane. I mean, when he went to the Rangers in the 3rd round, as a Leafs fan, I was just crushed when I didn't see him go, because the Leafs ended up picking Sean Durzi from the Owen Sound Attack, and I just thought, like, what a pairing that would be, Sean Durzi and Joey Keane. But obviously they had other plans, but the New York Rangers, they didn't have too much coverage on Keane. You get a couple pictures and an interview. But, man, that player is going to be huge in 2018-19. I thought, honestly, he should have been running the first power play over Fergus last year. But
no doubt. I don't even really want to get too much into that, only because I just can't process how he wasn't on that top pairing.
He's incredible.
No, absolutely. And like you said, there wasn't much stuff featured by the Rangers at the camp. I would have loved to have seen them. I did see one thing where they did a video of it was like a parody of The Office, where they did the intro of The Office.
Yeah,
they had a couple of the other prospects.
Yeah, they didn't even have him.
Keane wasn't even in there. I would have loved to have seen him maybe at like Michael Scott's desk or something like that. But anyways, they for whatever reason there wasn't too much stuff on him. And on that topic, the last one here would be Fergus, who was at Leafs camp. And he'll be gone.
Yeah, they did an interview with Fergus. I think that a lot of that had to do with, I mean, he's got some family connections to the Leafs. I believe his dad or uncle or something played for the Leafs. And, like, all the best to him. The Leafs seem to pick up a lot of OHL talent for their development camp. That has to be because of Kyle Dubas and all his connections in the OHL. We don't know much about how he did, but wish him all the best. He's an overager, so he was great for us last year and a leader on the team, and all the best and of luck to him.
Oh, absolutely. And, I mean, you look at this list of players. I mean, we have 8 players that were invited, which is massive in comparison to like the previous season. But, like, you look at this list and you still think, like, could there have been other Colts that got chances? I mean, look at, like, Lucas Chiodo, Jason Wilms, or even Captain Justin Murray. Could they have, like,
Honestly, I thought so. I think when you look at Jason Wilms, he is a player that could have been drafted. He's a great all-around player. He pretty much does everything good.
Everything.
Like he's our face-off guy. He's like a solid centerman. I mean, he's looking at, what do you have? Same stats as Magwood, 27 goals and 32 assists, 59 points last year, and not a ton of power play time. Like he's a guy that could use a bump up the depth chart there. Chiodo, Lucas Chiodo, you're looking at 79 points. He fit in everywhere. Amazing last year. He's just an absolute offensive dynamo. I think that people that don't see him regularly really...
You don't get to appreciate the same way as if you do watch him, you know, like, because he's the kind of player that's always working hard. Like, he's always moving his legs. He's
so skilled, too. Like,
not a big guy, but he plays like a bigger player than he is. And I feel like, unfortunately, like, if you're a prospect that's maybe looking for players, you're only seeing a lot of these teams just in brief moments. So you're depending on, like, prospect reports online and stuff like that. And I'm sure that the first thing they see is just his size.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that you know, like, it doesn't really matter how talented you are unless you are, like, the next big guy. It just doesn't happen that way. And unfortunately, I think he kind of became a victim of that.
Yeah, and you can tell definitely Chiodo works on his his fitness. Like it's really hard for guys to bump him off the puck. His lower body is just so strong, and he always has had the hands and the offensive ability. Like when he played for the Barrie Colts program, he was like the top player, one of the top players in his age group. He put up tons of points for the Barrie Junior Colts program. So they knew he had the skill, and now he's kind of putting it all together. And we got high hopes for Lucas next year, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. And he just keeps getting better and better. I think that especially where he was drafted by the Colts, he's really exceeded the expectations that I think that anyone
15th
had.
round.
Yeah. I mean, he was
OHL
like that
draft.
late Barrie-born pick that, you know, the Colts do sometimes. And he's just worked out so well for them. I don't think that they have a pick that was... just a steal, an absolute steal. And also, like we mentioned, I mean, Murray could have probably gotten a nod from a team. You were talking about his leadership before we came on here.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the leader of the Barrie Colts. I mean, he's got all those abilities. Like, you can never have too many leaders on an NHL team. Like, just good guy in the dressing room, so solid with his positioning and defensive work, and a really good puck mover. He's got this deceptive speed. Like, his gap control is great.
Yeah, because you never look at him thinking that his speed is one of his
strengths.
It
really is.
But it really is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and it looks like it'll be his second season as the captain of the Colts. So to see somebody get 2 years with the C is kind of exciting in Barrie. You don't always see that. So it'll be interesting to see just. You know, and I mean, again, we will talk about the OA situation, so he'll be mentioned there. So what we'll move on to now is just the overage situation. So we're headed into the season, and the possible guys that we could see come back is Zach Magwood, Murray, as we were just mentioning, as well as Lucas Chiodo and Ben Howarchuk.
Yeah, and I mean, we've just talked about Magwood and Chiodo and how much we like them as players. Those two guys I think that they should make up the top line with Ryan Suzuki. Basically, that line was absolute magic. There's just so much chemistry. I couldn't imagine how well they do this year, like considering how strong they were last year. I think they're going to be the big line going forward. The only thing about Magwood is you have the uncertainty about whether or not he will make the AHL. He'll come in as an overager, obviously, because that's what we're talking about. But he could end up playing pro.
And that is a good possibility. I mean, especially after having as good of a camp as he had. You know, I don't know, like, their situation, what kind of things that their team is looking for right now. I only follow the AHL so much. But you have a guy that's coming off. He scored huge goals in the training camp. Obviously, they did not wait long to lock him in.
It was like a few days after.
A few days after. So this isn't a guy that they're just kind of trying to, like, just put guys on the shelf to have as an option. This is somebody that they're obviously seriously looking at. So though I believe that we will see Magwood back this season, you know, there is still that possibility that he won't be available. In which case, we would end up going with Hawerchuk in that role with Murray and Chiodo, which is still not a terrible situation because, I mean, yeah, Hawerchuk might not be one of our top point producers, and he might spend a little bit of time in the penalty box, but, you know, he does serve a role on the team, and I do find that he has come a long way since his rookie season with Barrie.
Yeah, he's got nice grit, and like he has progressed fairly well. Not quite as well as I'd hoped, but I mean, he's a great player. Like he'd be solid on that line. The Colts could also make a move in terms of trade to make room for him. It's an interesting situation, obviously, with his father as head coach. There's a lot of people that have strong opinions on this topic, but Ben's a good player. Like, don't take anything away from him. Like, the only reason why it doesn't look particularly great is because of the prowess of Magwood and Chiodo. They are exceptional players at they'll be incredible at the OHL next year. So it's kind of makes it a tricky situation.
Well, as you mentioned via trade, I mean, yeah, it might look like it's like, let's say Magwood is available. Even if they end up getting everyone available to the team might feel like, you know, if they do decide to go with the trade route, that they might get a better return for, let's say, someone like Magwood.
Oh, yeah.
And if that's the case, and let's say Barrie feels that, like, you know, who knows, he might not be with the team the whole season. They might end up calling him up to the AHL later on in the year. Is it more, like, less of a risk to move that when you know that you might end up being able to get a better player in return, or maybe better picks, or
if you can get some second-round picks or even 1 second-round pick and a player for Magwood, it might not be the worst thing in the world. Like, the Barrie Colts don't have the most stock draft covered. They're not doing bad, but those second-round picks are really valuable in the OHL, and you don't know if you're going to need them this year or next year or down the line. It's you really don't know until the season gets going, and I mean, we're just speculating at this point. So we'll see how it all plays out. And we love all three players, and however it works out, it'd be good.
Oh, absolutely.
And Murray, he's not going anywhere.
No, he's not going anywhere. I mean, that's
he's a leader of the Colts.
That's our captain, man. He'll be back. I would be shocked if, for whatever reason, he didn't end up making that list. I honestly feel like overall it's I mean, Murray, Magwood, providing he's available, and Chiodo will be the guys moving forward.
And the other thing is, like, they have time to figure this out. Like, you can hold 4 OAs, overage players, until I believe December, sometime in there. So you can start the year with 4. There's no rush. I think a lot of fans are getting anxious about the situation, and I think we can just relax and let management deal with it, and it'll all sort itself out. Colts management's awesome. Jason Ford knows what he's doing. So
absolutely, and I'm sure that they'll end up making the right decision that will end up benefiting the team anyways. And yeah, that's all we can hope for.
Yep.
Speaking of hopefuls and things that we hope for, let's take a look at the import draft. The first pick that the Colts did was their 48th pick in the draft, and it was Maxim Zhukov.
Yeah, Zhukov. Yeah, the 48th overall, Russian. He is a 1999 born, so he's
5 days.
He's 18 years old, and he turns 19 in 5 days. So for recruitment reasons, we're going to make sure we wish him a happy birthday.
Happy early birthday.
But if you're listening, Zhukov, we're excited to have drafted you. You're looking at a 4th-round pick from the Vegas Golden Knights in 2017. I've seen him described as an athletic, butterfly-style goalie with great agility, awesome angle work, which puts shooters in a tough position to score, and very good size at 6'3", 187. So...
No, absolutely. And coming from the USHL, I mean, already, you know, getting a chance to play with men, essentially, that'll be really good experience for him. In North America, he played 53 games. He had a 2.45 goals against average with a save percentage of .909. So, I mean, he ended up going on, he's going to be decent for the Colts if we can get him in. But like you said, there's no guarantee that we can grab him.
Yeah, there's a bit of hope there. Like, actually, recently, Justin Stapleton, who's another contributor at Barrie Colts, at Staples 1311, another great Barrie Colts follow. He
Must
mentioned,
follow.
yeah, he's a must follow if you're a Colts fan.
OHL follow.
OHL follow, yeah. He mentioned to me about former Barrie Colts assistant coach and goalie coach Mike Rosati. He pointed out to me that he's actually a goalie coach with Vegas Golden Knights. So I think there could be some kind of inside information there, something brewing. Hockey, as we know, in management and in those circles, is all about connections. So, like, you add the fact that you got Rosati, followed the Colts on Instagram. I mean, it's kind of like a natural progression for him. He's not going to want to play another year in the USHL. He's going to want to step up to the CHL, particularly OHL and Barrie Colts. So you're looking at a guy, he's gone through the Russian program, U16, U17, U18. U17, he had a silver medal, best goalie in the tournament at the Hlinka Gretzky U18 bronze medal, and he was the starting goalie for Russia. So, I mean, he's got the resume of a guy that would be a very solid goalie in the OHL.
No, absolutely. And then from him, the next pick that the Colts had was the 108th overall pick. Should I be the one that possibly butchers his first name? Or
You know
should I
what?
just say Pekar?
You know what? I saw. I did a little research on this before we went on, and I watched a highlight package, and someone from the Muskegon Lumberjacks, which was his team last year, called him Matej Pekar.
There we go.
Matej Pekar. So it's not Matej, but I could be wrong. So let's just see what Gene Pereira does on his first. And Gene Pereira is another must follow. OHL, like he's the man.
The best.
Gene Pereira is the man.
He is the best. The best. But yeah, that sounds like a Czech name. So I mean, I feel like that holds up.
Yeah,
that holds up. I'll allow that, and we will use Matej until Gene corrects us eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a guy who's had international success. He's gone through the Czech program, U17s, U18s. He is a fourth-round pick of the Buffalo Sabres from 2018, and he made noise at Buffalo Sabres camp. He got into it with Rasmus Dahlin, the first overall pick in this year's draft, knocked him down in a drill, and then later on, he absolutely got smoked, rattled by Rasmus Dahlin.
Just ran over.
That hit went viral.
Yeah, that was all over. I could, like, every time I opened up my Twitter, that was someone sharing it with their own commentary on it, and just yikes. Yeah, and he also, another guy who played in the USHL, 56 games, scored 14 goals, and added 40 assists. And he went on to win the USHL Rookie of the Year as well that season.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
It's very solid. The only thing that we need to kind of keep our eye open for is the fact that on April 30th, 2018, he tweeted that he was proud to announce his commitment to Miami University. I'm pretty sure that's Miami in
Ohio.
Yeah, not the one, not the one you're thinking. No, absolutely.
No,
not that there's no sunshine in Ohio, but I've heard things that there's not much sunshine.
I'm pretty sure that
Ohio.
Miami, Ohio's hockey program is much stronger than the University of Miami.
You would assume
Florida.
So from the looks of things, it looks like he's mentioned commitment, but
he's committed to the Red Hawks, is what they're called. So when it comes to that, there's a rumor out there right now that he is not eligible until second semester, which is going to make him miss some hockey games, and he's not eligible to join the team right away. So, I mean, that could be a calculated risk on Jason Ford's part, like the Colts management of Jason.
Maybe you can entice him if he
did his homework there. Like, yeah, exactly. So there could have been a little bit read into there. And I mean, Pekar, you're looking at a typical Colts player. Like he's a bit of a pest. There was a really awesome interview with him on Buffalo Sabres social media. He was talking about getting into it with Casey Middlestat, who was their 2017 first-round pick, and how he had fun kind of pissing him off and whatever. And he did the same with Rasmus Dahlin. Like, he actually, after Rasmus Dahlin nailed him, the next day they had their development camp scrimmage, and he deked him out of his jockstrap and scored a goal. So he's a gamer. Like, he's probably a guy who would end up in our top 6 if he signs with Colts.
Well, absolutely. And having time, like you said, again, with the USHL, I mean, that's huge for the development, especially heading over to the OHL possibly after that.
North American experience, right?
Absolutely. It goes such a long way, especially with a lot of the import drafts that don't always have that under their belt, you know?
Yeah, and he's a 2000 born, so we could get him for a couple of years if all works out. But
18?
Yeah, he's 18. I'd say likely 1 year and then probably go pro, but you never know.
No, absolutely. I mean, you should also consider coming here. I think I already told you I'd put a cat head on you. So the ball is in your court.
We'll put one on you or we won't. Whatever you want, just let us know.
Absolutely.
We just want you to sign those papers, bud.
No, please do. And I guess we're kind of going to be sticking on some of that. We're going to take a look at the goaltenders and the goaltending headed into the season. Obviously, we just mentioned Maxim Zhukov, who the Colts just selected at the import draft, who could end up obviously getting that top spot depending on his status if he makes him available.
It's looking like if he's available for the Colts, it's going to be a situation where you're going to have a battle between Kai Edmonds and Maxim Zhukov. Basically, the way I'd look at it, and I'm pretty sure this is the way the Colts management's going to look at it, is let them battle it out in camp, battle it out in practice, and games, and see who comes out on top. It's going to be it would be great for the Colts to have those two goalies, and you got like a guy in Zhukov who's maybe got a little more experience overall, but then you got Kai Edmonds who has OHL experience.
Absolutely.
He had a 9-4-1 record last year in the OHL, 48 save shutout, no one sound, and he started to really get more comfortable in the crease in the OHL as the season went on last year. So
when he made some huge saves, like I mean, when I was going through, because we were getting some stuff together, headed into the NHL draft this year, and we did a little profile on Kai as well. And I like some of the stuff I even just forgot. Like I mean, I feel like I don't always give him the credit that he deserves. And I like Edmonds, and and I feel that like a big advantage, like you said, is his OHL experience that he might have on Zhukov. So it's. Though some people might look at this and think that if available, this is Zhukov's crease. I think Edmonds could really make a push for that top spot.
Yeah, and I mean it also depends on what work he's getting in the offseason. Like he's probably working hard on like his quickness and agility and like bulking up a bit. You're looking at a goalie that was like when he was drafted in the OHL, he was only about 5'9", and he's really kind of grown. Like he's well over 6'1" or something, 6'2". He's kind of growing into his body, so you never know.
Zhukov's what, 6'3"?
Zhukov, yeah. So you're gonna have two big goalies, and I mean, the Colts fans have always complained a little bit about having smaller goalies, but
I don't think it could be too hard on that. I mean, you look at guys like Mackenzie Blackwood and even David Ovsjanikov. He was I think he was even like 6'5", maybe.
Yeah, he was
6'6".
huge.
He was a big boy as well, But I mean, at the same time. And I think that like we'll kind of segue into some of these guys as well, because Jack Reeves is another name that you could look at as being a possibility of getting a spot. So if they end up having these guys battle out for, we end up in a situation where we might be doing another 3-goalie swap, which is not something that is new to Colts fans. I'm sure that you remember a couple of years ago when we had Christian Propp, Ron Bodenhorst, and David Ovsjanikov kind of rotating. We sort of just gave each goalie one game a week and hope for the best. Now, it's worth noting that we did not make the playoffs that year. So I don't know if that was entirely because of the goaltending situation, because Ovsjanikov was good, and especially when he was filling in for Blackwood in Blackwood's last playoff run when he got that suspension. He played some big games, and I mean, there was some games that the Colts only won because of him. But that being said, are you really helping guys like Christian Propp at that time, having him play one game a week, especially when you're trying to give Bodenhorst at the time? So if we go into this season and we end up rotating, are we better off kind of making a decision earlier on who we feel our two guys are, or do you chance rotating those 3 guys?
So like the Colts have done this twice in the last 5 years. In 13-14, you saw a situation where you had Blackwood, Gibble, and Fotinos. Gibble ended up stealing the crease that year, and the Colts ended up moving Fotinos to Windsor. That's also courtesy of Justin Stapleton. We found that on his Twitter account.
Keep it up, Justin. Great work, bud. Just outstanding.
Justin is
what a
the
dude.
Man. So, I mean, you could start the season with 3 goalies. I think the best situation is just let him battle it out. Like we'll see, like let him play games, let him get into maybe start the season that way. I don't personally feel like there's much of a rush, but in the OHL, all the teams are looking for a goaltender, and I think I think if you're looking at Kai Edmonds or Jack Reeves being moved, I think you're going to get a real good package for them. I think Jack Reeves would be an attractive one. You're looking at a 2017 third-round pick, extremely athletic. I saw him at the Carnival Summer Hockey Showcase. He started all the games for the Barrie team in that tournament. He looked absolutely great, and there's tons of scouts there. They know about him. He spent last year with the Guelph Hurricanes, I believe they're called, Junior B team. Guelph. I'm not sure if they're called Hurricanes. But
we could use it anyway.
Yeah, we'll go with that
for now, anyways. And yeah, so I mean, either way, it looks like the Colts are going to end up with a decent goaltender, and depending on how off seasons went and how training camp goes, they could end up exceeding our expectations. So I mean, that's pretty much kind of what we broke down. The only thing we're really going to be looking into is the next episode, which basically what we got planned out so far is just kind of the depth chart and a look at what kind of players we might see headed into camp in July, as well as the players that we could have on the roster on, at the beginning of the season. What do you think the roster might look like?
Yeah, so like I'm pretty big into like OHL prospects, and I particularly follow the Barrie Colts prospects. So I made an article a while ago with the actual depth chart that I had at the time, made some assumptions for this year. On that depth chart, I assumed that we'd be drafting 2 forwards. So I got to make changes to that, and I'll probably come out with an article before training camp that explains kind of what's going on with the depth chart going into camp. But, I mean, you're looking at most likely the big line moves on from the forward standpoint. And there's 3 players that there's going to be spots definitely available. You got to give one spot to Riley Piercy. He's already signed, 2018 first-round pick. This kid's absolutely incredible. I'll talk more about him and the other prospects in the next episode, but just a little teaser. Some other names down there. We got Connor LePage, who's a 2017 fourth-round pick. And then Eric Russell, who was a 2018 third-round pick. So Eric Russell was selected for U17 camp in Calgary. That's going to happen later on this year, near the start of the season. And, I mean, Riley Piercy and Eric Russell have a chance to make the U17 team. And they'll actually end up missing games because of that. Actually, I believe camp would be before the season starts. But anyways, there's other guys, Tyson Forrester, Peter Fleming. You got Americans, Ryan Beck, Matt Coronado, Nate Hanley. So there's not a lot of spots, and there's a lot of guys that have a shot at it. So it's going to be a pretty fiery training camp, and there's going to be a lot of sparks flying there.
Well, it's not bad having a lot of available options and have to fight for a spot instead of just being like, who are we going to get these spots
Well,
to?
I mean, and then there's always surprises, too. Like, someone jumps out of the woodwork. Like, you look at a Peyton Shaley, he was a late pick in the 2017 draft. I've seen him score some incredible goals at Summer League. Even Liam Fadak. There's tons of guys at forward the Colts have in the system there. And it'll be interesting to see how they use the Aurora Tigers. Apparently, the Colts have an affiliation with them now. Mm-hmm. The Colts typically don't do where they sign a player and then assign them to Junior A or Junior B. I'm not sure if they're changing that, so we'll see how that all plays out. Like, Colts are pretty secretive about what they're doing, so we'll only time will tell how that all works out. On defense, you're probably looking at maybe one spot for TJ Fergus's spot, maybe another one, depending on what happens. But Austin Durazio seems to have inside track there, 2018 fifth-round pick. And that's about all we got so far. We'll talk about that more in detail in the next episode.
We don't want to give away too much, otherwise we'll have nothing for the... I'm sure there will not be a lack of content, but we'll definitely save a lot of that. And that, and
then the trade freeze, the OHL trade freeze will be lifted in 15 days. So there could be moves there. The Colts could make a big splash. I mean, the Colts have a really, really strong 2001, 2002 group with, like, you got Nate Allenson, Ryan Suzuki. Then you got Riley Piercy in 2002. rookie this year. You got 2 third-rounders that are incredible, and Tyson Forrester and Eric Russell. So maybe they make a splash and go for someone like William Cully, who is saying he's not going to report to the Peterborough Petes. You never know, because that all basically is going to happen in 15 days. Someone's going to trade for him, and amongst many other players. So you never know, like they did a few years ago with Krylniznikov.
Yeah, that's right.
So the Colts aren't. Jason Ford is definitely not opposed to making bold moves.
Well, and look what we ended up doing with that deal anyways. We ended up bringing in Sokolov pretty much with him anyways too. So, and there's lots to look forward to. Like you said, in 15 days that happens. So, obviously we will, any updates, any trades, anything like that, you can see on a veryverycoltsblog.com. Whether it be on our Twitter page or our Facebook page. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for our first episode.
Sounds good. It was fun.
Good job. Thanks for coming out today. And I'd like to thank again Ryan McArthur for being on. Like I said, follow him on Twitter. That is at RyanPMCARTHUR.
That's it.
And don't worry about following me. I'm overfollowed anyways. And that's it. We would like to thank you for sitting through this. I don't know what the time is like on it. I've got a different window open, but we appreciate your listening. And any feedback, just let us know online. And, hopefully these will get better and smoother. And
looking forward to the season. Some more Tucker bombs. There's big Tucks out there.
Absolutely.
Flying around St. Louis Blues camp, scoring goals.
The season can't come soon enough.
Oh, yeah, we're ready. Ready for training camp, too. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be late August, so that's a timeline for that. Any Colts fans, if you want to see good hockey for free, get out to training camp. It is awesome. It's like they're battling for spots on the team, and the Colts have a lot of good prospects.
So absolutely.
We'll preview that in the next episode.
And if you can't even wait that long, actually, we've also got Hockey Night in Barrie coming around the corner. I guess it would be a disservice to ourselves to not
mention them. Yeah.
Actually, the other day they just announced that Andrew Mangiapane is going to be at the event again this year. So I mean, there's a fan. I mean, you still go to Colts games, and literally 80% of the jerseys in the crowd are Andrew Mangiapane. So everyone obviously loves the
mango.
Loves the mango. And that's it. We're just going to keep talking if I don't stop this. So thank you again for coming out. We remember to check us out at a veryverycoltsblog.com, and we will catch you next time.
Later.
Appearing no mirror when I stand near it. And when I talk, you hear it as if a spear hit through your ears. Spirits get released in the air. Beware, eerie lyrics stay seared on your gray matter. As a babe, I would play with a snake's rattle. Ever changing as the sun rays, day shadows. I sling flame like a napalm rain shower. My brain waves pulse with a strange power. When I meditate, days imitate hours. Hypnotized and amazed by my talent. I strike like a diving bird with aim talents. I know not of challenge nor error. I know not of fear nor peril nor terror. Grave robbing burial plots.